I thought that the intro was still going or hadn't gone yet, so I had to rerun it. Let's rerun again. How's everyone doing? Hope you had a good weekend. I'm sitting here actually eating some barbecue from the joint Stand with Crypto Nebraska Bitcoiners barbecue, their 5th annual that they do every year. I could eat barbecue every single day. There's like 3 foods I could eat every day. It would be barbecue, it'd be ramen, like authentic ramen. Maybe just like instant ramen. I mean, I do like Korean ramyun a lot, like buldak and stuff like that. Buldak, pardo, shin ramyun, all of those. And I could probably eat yeah, anything. I mean, anything that's grilled, regardless of the culture, whether it be like a shawarma, al pastor, Filipino barbecue, churrascaria. Trying to think of any satay. I don't think there's any type of grilled meat I don't like. So maybe it is grilled meat every day. I don't know. Let me just get the word out real quick. Hopefully, you had a great weekend. We are in the middle of August, and it's kind of crazy to see how it's all just like the years just kind of melted away, right? I did want to say real quick to one of my other companies I work for, On-Chain Media, 2 years old today. Happy birthday to On-Chain Media. I actually did some content at the Bitcoiners barbecue. I'll be putting that out sometime soon. Shout out, of course, to Stand with Crypto for helping sponsor the event. I was there specifically in representation with Stand with Crypto. And shout out to that one kitty. Her WIFB WIFBO project, Kitty WIFBO project, has turned 1 year old today as well. So happy birthday to you all. There's a lot of people that are celebrating birthdays today, so happy birthday to you if it's your birthday today. Just taking a second to get the word out that I'm live for those who specifically care. So I'm going to do that on Facebook, on Farcaster, and CoinMarketCap. Shout out to all those lovely organizations for helping me with a platform. I can't say there's a ton of news to really just kind of talk about in crypto today. There's some overall a lot of tech news going on, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. What I will say is the most interesting news, at least for me when I went to bed last night, was seeing that Stripe has acquired OpenRouter for I think $7 billion, which is not this article. Let me fix that. But sheesh, you would think that I would have that screen already up. I'm sure it'll come up here as we load up the Feedly. Feedly is what I use for the aggregation of the majority of my articles that I talk about here. I also have a couple of bots that specifically do other aggregation through multiple sources. Let me see if any of them are even up right now, because I was looking at my other box and not all of them were up and running. Yeah, it looks like they're not all up and running. For whatever reason. Great. Anyway, oh, this is actually interesting news. Let's talk about this one real quick. The U.S. Treasury proposes rules for how Genius Act stablecoin licensing works. And I think this is a little bit, so the Genius Act proposal will put a due diligence duty on exchanges that list stablecoins. So this is tied into the ethics clause with the Clarity Act that hasn't been passed. So maybe this is in the event that it doesn't pass. There are fines that will be put on exchanges that, from an ethics perspective, violate that. So if they allow KYC'd accounts, specific, like personal accounts, right? For a sitting president, senator, congressperson, and their spouses and staff for the next, 4 years? No, 2 years. That it would be a problem for them to not do that. So, interesting. Why are my... Oh, I'm not connected to, because I'm not connected to Tailscale. That's my fault. Actually, no, I am. Weird. I'll have to figure that out in a little bit. So I'm not going to worry too much about that article because I think it does this due diligence duty on exchanges that list stablecoins. And that's fine. How they enforce that will be a different story, right? Because I think these have to be US-based exchanges. I mean, they're not going to sit there and head out to like KuCoin and slap them with things. Or like Yandex, right? Over in Russia. Bitmart founder dismisses calls for audit as users report blocked funds, unpaid employees. I wonder why. I mean, ZachXBT has already come out and said if you have the liquidity, pay the users. What do you think? Let me know. Let me see here. Well, here we go. I've already seen this, so we won't talk about it too much. Ansem debuts a launchpad and the Z500. So this is kind of what had to happen, right? If you're going to do this, you're going to have to go all out because God forbid you actually sell. I'm sure that Ansem has made plenty of profit already. I mean, because of just the trading volume on Pump alone that he gets on the side for that, and even some other things, he's fine. So there's a Z500 on-chain index. Interesting. Let's see what Bankless has to say here. Okay, so this is interesting. That's very interesting. See, this is smart. This is smart from Ansem. Launch a coin of Pump.Fun with the with an on-record airdrop to Ansem holders. I mean, this is how you would want to do this. If I'm being honest, obviously, it's people will have thoughts on this, but he really cannot sell. The moment he sells, if a wallet of his sells his token, it's just going to go careening out of control. So, the Z500 is a live test of Ansom's thesis that creator tokens can flip the influencer economy, turning consumers into stakeholders and brand into direct value payers and sponsors. A model that, if it works here, which it probably will, let's be honest, likely gets copied fast. So the question is, should I launch a creator coin on Ansom? I mean, I could. Because I'm about, for me, I would use it specifically to bootstrap the ability for me to go to different cities around the planet through the DeFi Literacy Project and spread the good word about not meme coins, but about digital assets and self-custody, and the reason why it's important that people at least are aware of it. It's one thing for people to say crypto is fake, but it's one thing for people to also say crypto is fake without understanding the true underlying potential and technology underneath it. The moment people hear what I have to say about self-custody and DeFi and the ability to actually be your own bank, they listen because they think that's great. They don't love all of this. And granted, I don't advocate for this for new users. Why? Because most users won't understand how most of this works. They'll just be fodder. They'll be exit liquidity, right? I'm not saying that Ansom's Launchpad will help that in any way. It just kind of kicks the can down the road, right? Because most people who get airdrops, they're just going to sell them anyway. Let's be very honest. Because that's all that airdrops are. It's glorified marketing tools. Any company who feels that an airdrop of supply tokens is going to be like the ultimate boon for growing your brand, it could in the short term, but unless you execute long term, then no, it's just free money that people are just going to use to, send the price back down to zero. And it's all up to you as a product, if you have no real revenue creation model, to bring value to that token. I mean, I think that's fairly commonsensical, if you ask me. Would I say that this is a fix for Pump's curation problem, where many tokens launch but few graduate or grow? I don't think this is a fix for that. This is a nice solution for people who are in Ansom, who are Ansom holders. But is that the fix? Now, for me to kind of poo-poo on Pump's creator tokens economy, I don't think is fair, because there's real use cases for this, right? I'm a big fan of things like I'm a big fan of regenerative finance. I'm a big fan of using DeFi and crypto and digital asset payments for good. There's a couple of groups that are doing that. RWI. Shout out to Lewis, Burgers on Base, doing RWI on Robinhood. He's using it to help charitable causes. Something similar to a degree like this, although Ansom is on Solana. I don't know if Ansom pushes this on Robinhood. If it gets more traction, it could, and maybe it expands to Robinhood at some point. But overall, I mean, it's really just more for like bootstrapping and creating a personal brand. I don't think me having a token makes any sense at all, unless it's for a specific purpose, which in this case would be to bootstrap the ability for us to go out and not only just have workshops on what the future of the digital economy is, but to get more people aware of these options, because most people still don't know that Aave is a thing, that EtherFi is a thing, that crypto wallets are a thing. They're like, oh, okay, well, how do I do that? Oh, I just go to Coinbase? That's an option. Is it the best option? In the long run, probably not. But depending on what your intention is going to matter, right? Anyway, let's see what else we have here today. Treasury asked for public input on Genius Act crypto legislation. Let's get on the Clarity Act first. Oh, right, because the July deadline for the rules. Compound bets 52 million. New leadership team and switch to institutional focus. I mean, this is something that Compound probably had to do anyway, because they prefer to do institutional work, most likely. I would think it makes more sense in the beginning, getting big whales to come on ETH mainnet to use Compound specifically for stable yield generation has kind of been a really great model for them. So now that the world is more open to this, yeah, it makes sense that Compound would want to get into that. You have to bear with me. I'm a bit warm. I had to do the yard work today before getting on. I was going to go on, but I was like, you know what? I should probably do the yard work first. And quite tired. Rolled my ankle, but that is what it is. I just have to sit down and talk, so I guess it's not that terrible. Well, I thought Bitmine had the 5% supply. They were at 4.67 at one point, so they keep buying, which is fine. 84 billion in unrealized losses. You guys know that he doesn't care about the losses, right? Because this is more of a watershed moment for maintaining the utility of ETH moving forward. There we go. So this is the, I don't know if I want to read the Defiant article on it, but neither, yeah, this is true. Neither company has announced the deal. Everything I've read was, from people on the inside, quote unquote, on this specific deal. Is this a big deal? I quote retweeted this yesterday saying that Stripe has again gone and acquired a sleeping giant. This is a big deal for Stripe. Really in one specific aspect of the deal. It's an acqui-hire, right? For people like, couldn't Stripe have just made their own router? Yeah, but open router is what's being used, guys. Would you rather just acquire what's actually being used by the majority of people out there? And they've got the funds to do it. The valuation at $7 billion that's the eye opener, right? They're like, it wasn't even worth that 3 months ago. But 3 months ago in this AI agent space, a much different story than what it is today. Open Router's main goal is really just to help you find the best model, specifically for agentic harnesses. Just get depending on what task you have, find the best a model to take care of that. Because, if you're just doing simple things, you don't need to burn tokens on Claude code, on Sonnet, on Opus, on Fable, on very simple tasks that, because you're paying, let's just say you're paying 50 cents a token. I mean, 50 cents, yeah, let's just call it 50 cents average for certain things. If something can be done literally for like 1/100th or of a token or a cent for a token, why not do that? Open Router does help with that. The reason this matters is also because Tempo, their layer 1 is launching soon. I think next month. It's been around, right? They've kind of had a quote unquote soft launch, but Stripe is really banking on AI agents. And for me, I'm on the record multiple times over the last couple months. Ever since Google talked about agents, they're really into agents right now, specifically consumer-facing agents in Google applications with their new Spark framework, Google Spark. That just allows you to say, natural language, hey, I'm going to do this. Can you do all the tasks necessary to make it happen? Like I need to find all of the we're going on a trip to Florida. Can you tell me all the places we should stop along the way, maximizing fuel efficiency, and where we should stay? Ideally with the idea that we'd want to drive 10 to 11 hours per day max. An agent can go and plan all that for you in the background while you go and do your thing. And that's the future of user experience, in my opinion. UX, right? Not UIs, UX. User experience. Agents are going to be the one that takes care of most of that for you. Now, we've seen some interesting things that happen with agents. If you haven't heard in the news, there was a guy who has a user agent or an AI agent that went out and he just said, "Hey, I want to get into this class that's at my local gym for whatever workout." The class was full. However, the agent found a way to manipulate the public API to kick someone else out of the class and put their person in because of, I don't know, it's a vulnerability or just something that people didn't recognize. Good bot, right? Good bot. Bot did what was supposed to be done. What this does, it doesn't change the way that agents work, right? It just makes it so that agents that are available for tempo, and remember, Stripe is going all in on chain with their tools because they bought Bridge in 2024. They bought Privy in 2025, and Privy is like the easy way to get on with a wallet using an email, social login. Bridge is a huge stablecoin infrastructure that has, that's been the biggest disruptive thing for them, if I'm being honest, over the last 5 years. They first disrupted e-commerce by providing a 7-line piece of code that allows anyone with a website to accept e-commerce orders. So this is more of that moving forward. Having OpenRouter as a way to really commoditize their agency work, or agents that are on their platforms working, by finding ways to maximize efficiency as well as token usage cost. Huge. I'm kind of shocked that somebody else didn't step in already to purchase OpenRouter, but they probably wouldn't have done it for the $7 billion valuation. I mean, if you're OpenRouter, you're pleased as punch by this, right? Because not only the rumors of the deal, even if it's not true, I think it's true, but even if it wasn't, can you imagine the number of people that are going to go after OpenRouter now? Oh man. All right, so the last week has been issues with hardware wallets, right? Let's be honest, Ledger has not had the best track record with PR and with breaches. The SafePal breach is bad. The Trezor breach of PII, which I talked about last Friday on our Beat the Banks podcast, isn't great, but it's no different than you getting your stuff leaked if you sign up for a sweepstakes for a car, right? Or if you just, sign up to win the local cakewalk. I'm not saying that people sell that information, but people sell that information. There's a lot of people that sell all kinds of different information, as my cat agrees if you heard him meow. This is not good. Why is the Defiant? I need a better sort. Nothing against the Defiant. A lot of that is just AI aggregated, which I don't love, but it is what's. In any case, if you have a SafePal wallet, there's not much you can do at this point, because this apparently was something that happened in April. So multiple months went by without that. I talked to some people at the barbecue specifically about how they deal with their operational security. A lot of them have separate PO boxes. I think that would probably be something that needs to come back into the ethos. One thing I mentioned is that I think for a lot of things in Web3 to work well, you need to have a revolution in self-hosting. Self-hosting in this case, with regard to your delivered packages, wouldn't necessarily be to your home. So, should you consider investing, especially for things that involve your money, into something like a private mailbox, a PO box? The answer is yes. It's not something we push because it's just like it all depends on how secure you want your things to be, or how. But clearly, these things have shown that that's a thing. Or if you're truly paranoid, you find a way to, meet someone in person and you pay them cash, or you go to a big box retailer and pay cash. That's something that I don't think changes until cash becomes a bit irrelevant. Then you can just have blockchain based things on a neutral platform wallet. And when I say neutral, meaning you create a wallet, you put money in it, and then you use that to pay for the transaction, and it has very little movement back to you, at least to to you with regards to private information. Right? The SEC meeting that wasn't. They pushed this off. I'm not going to worry about it. But we're less than a month away from the summit for the SEC with tokenization of stocks. That'll be a very interesting talk because Swift is ready to move. I think next month is when they're going to start using their Ethereum backed ledger to start moving things, and you can get people being able to access funds in such a way. That'll be a big change. Where we should see the digital model for tokenized stocks coming to market sometime next month as well. Chainlink's ready. I want to say the New York Stock Exchange is ready for the digital version. They're about there. They've been testing for a while. It's nothing new. Looks like Hegata, which is the next fork for Ethereum after Glamsterdam, is ready. Because next we're they're not named, but there's I star, J star, and then K star and L star. But whereas Glamsterdam, like Fusaka, a lot of consumer-facing things, in my opinion. Hegata is going to be quite different. So we'll see exactly how that plays out. I'm not going to look at that today, but it's good to see that they've figured out the proposal pool that they'll be putting out in the next upgrade. Interesting. Bybit adds Unitree and Moonshot AI to the pre-IPO perpetuals lineup they have on their system. I don't know if that means that also comes to BuyReal, which is their liquidity platform on Solana. But one thing to find out, I suppose. Yeah, this is just at the CEX level. But at some point, it could be. Zach XBT exposed lab. I've never talked about labs, so I'm not going to talk about this. Interesting. UBS ramps up its Bitcoin exposure with a massive 24-fold surge in ETF call options. ultimately they're not going to make this move without something interesting happening. So maybe they know something we all don't know. But that was on Saturday. Kalshi ordered to stop broad range of prediction markets in Washington. uh, a multi-source geofencing system by September 2nd. This is interesting. I mean, it means it doesn't stop them. Because I guess they have a state gambling law. Kalshi asked to no longer offer contracts, and that's the big thing here. Kalshi has tokenized all of their events from the jump on Solana. So these are all smart contracts with tokens, and tokens have first class access to these extensions, all 36 of them that are available on Solana. We have yet to see like the fruits of that labor, but I'm very curious to see what happens once that is a thing. And we'll see exactly how that happens. So it's really just to prevent people from an IP standpoint in Washington from purchasing contracts covered by the injunction. I unfortunately think that, when it comes to the US, because of the broad power for states' rights. One second, guys. And I have an interesting invite in my DMs that I'll talk about another day. I do have to wrap up here in a couple minutes. I wanted to talk a little bit more about AI, but my infrastructure is not quite working, so I don't have my AI and general tech research online. So I'll have to fix that, and maybe we'll stream later on today for that. Trump expected to attend White House meeting with crypto CEOs. When's that happening? David Sachs there? He's no longer with there. I'm just curious to see if CoinDesk will actually tell me a little bit more about this. Oh, it's this week. Interesting. I wonder what that's going to be about. The other big news of the week, and this happened on Thursday, if I'm not, no, Friday. World Liberty Financial gets the preliminary approval from the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the OCC, to get a bank license. They already have a bank set up, by the way. If I can find it here. Israel's largest bank to offer crypto trading with Galaxy. Interesting. Payword revenue grew 17%. Interesting. I wonder why. Spot trading fell 27 industry wide, and there's multiple reasons for that. Hyperliquid's one of them, and the other is tokenized stocks are going to start loading up in a minute. But great to see that Payword, which is the mother company of Kraken, was able to get moving. Oh, Looks like Truth Social's prediction markets will just be using crypto.coms instead of building their own. Interesting. There's Devin Nunes. Interesting. I'll have to read more into this. This is... Oh. Oh, go. Oh, wow. That's big news. They're no... Because the Trump media had an S1 that they put out specifically for a ETF that had Crow in it. So the market conditions was that. Oh, that's kind of juicy. Let me grab that because I hadn't seen that. Re.pay to put their 1 billion IPO on hold. All right, I'll just have to stream a little bit later with some other things because the one thing I really wanted to talk about I can't find in this listing. Neutral, that's bad. Neutral pauses redemptions over undisclosed reserve issue. That's very bad, guys, by the way. That's not good at all. If you are in a neutral trade on like Drift or anything close to that, you may want to go and redeem on different platforms that have access to neutral right away. Okay. Well, Polymarket acquihires turf sports prediction team. Interesting. That's expected. EtherFi had a major revamp of the neobank. We talked about that on Friday's Beat the Banks. Definitely check that out. Interesting. The one thing that I wanted to talk about is not listed here. I wonder why. USD1 getting approved. What happened to that? Andre's wrong about that. It's going to be tougher for DeFi builders to build, but don't say that it doesn't exist. So, all right, guys, that's all I got for today. I have been summoned to a meeting, so I got to run. But talk to you guys later. Thanks for everybody who's watching. Shout out to everybody on the arena. Appreciate you guys being here, and we will see you guys next time. 07.